Please say it after me. Ya kundendu tusharahara dhavala ya shubhra vastravrta ya veena varadanda manditakara ya shweta padmasana ya brahmachyuta shankara prabhrutibhihi devai sada pujita samam patu saraswati vishesha jadyapaha om sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai om shanti shanti shantihi.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Last time we were discussing the story of Hiranyaksha. The take-home message for you to practice is observe your automatic habits. Observe things that you do when nobody is watching you, when no camera is rolling. When you observe, then you will be able to find out what your automatic habits are, what you naturally like to do, what your natural interests are, what your proclivities are. Proclivity means your inclination, natural tendency. And there is a chance of finding out who you are, what you like, and what you need improvement. Once you find out who you are, what you like, what your talents are, what your natural habits are, what your natural way of working is, then you can work on to improve it. Of course, you can work on to improve it for your benefit or for the benefit of the whole world. It doesn't matter. But very first thing is to find out who you are. And the best way to do that is by observing your automatic habits and automatic behaviors. And how do you do that? You have to pay attention. Automatic habit means a lot of times what we do. When we are brushing, we are still dreaming. When you are showering, you're still la 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 singing song and singing, right? You are in a dream world. But this is where we have to be more attentive to ourselves. This is called mindfulness. And when we are eating, be mindful. When you are doing everything, be mindful. In that way, you will be able to observe. And this is what Varaha Avatara, Yajna Varaha Avatara teaches us. So by Yajna Varaha Avatara, what did the Avatara first do? It tried to smell it. So this is smelling. You smell out your automatic habits. And then you uplift it. That means you understand, you clearly have a picture of who you are, and you set it out there. And then you start cultivating it. Everything is done through yajna. So yajna teaches us to be mindful, to be observing of our own habits, automatic habits. Then you will be able to find out who you are. Then you will be able to cultivate that, and ultimately you will be able to know what needs to be known. So entire process is yajna. There are 5 yajnas, right? We learned about 5 Pancha Mahayajnas. Rishi, Deva, Pitru, Manushya, Bhuta. 5 yajnas. So this is all we talked last time. So continuation of Hiranyaksha's story. Everybody knows Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha means your senses are always distracted by a thing, shiny things and noisy things. If somebody is talking loud, we listen to them, we ignore everything. If something is shining or quickly moving, our attention goes there. That means this world is constantly attracting us and distracting us, and our sense is always lost. Okay? So Hiranyaksha has a twin brother. Everybody knows that? Hiranyakashipu. I'll tell you an interesting story. So when the twins were born, Hiranyaksha came out first. And then Hiranyakashipu came out. And they said, Hiranyakashipu is elderly, is the elder son. Hiranyaksha is the younger one. How is that possible? Who came out first? Hiranyaksha. But they said he is the younger one. So the logic is, think of the womb as a bag. Okay? In the bag, you have a small bag. First you put a tiffin box, and on top of it you put a apple bag, and now you are taking out. Which one will you take out first?
The apple bag.
Why?
Because it's on top.
Yeah, last in, first out. People who study data structures, they know a stack. A stack is last in, first out, LIFO. First in, last out. So that means Hiranyakashipu came last, means he was put in first. So therefore Hiranyakashipu was elder and Hiranyaksha was younger. Even today, I think traditional people in India, all traditional folks, they understand this concept. They always say the firstborn as the younger one in twins. A lot of people have forgotten that. There is an interesting concept here. Maybe this is the right way, maybe this is the wrong way to say who is elder, who is younger. We're not debating that. There is a very interesting concept here. The interesting concept is that there is a precursor to Hiranyaksha. Why does Hiranyaksha nature within us come in the first place? Comes because of Hiranyakashipu. But Hiranyakashipu presents later. Although it is the fundamental cause of Hiranyaksha, it presents later. Let's see what Hiranyakashipu means. We know what Hiranya is. We are not confusing ourselves Hiranya to mean gold, right? Hiranya is something that glitters and something that is loud and attracts us. So that is basically this world. The world is always changing, always throwing beautiful forms and shapes and glittery stuff, and then always making noise, sounds to attract us.
Lack of clear conscience, can we
No,
say?
Kashipu means bed. What does Kashipu mean?
Bed.
What do we do on bed? Sleep, enjoy, and also have all pleasures. So it is considered as the place of pleasures. It's a bed of pleasures or a house of pleasures. So Hiranyakashipu means one who thinks this world is the bed of all happiness, pleasures, and the house of all happiness and all pleasures. So this is the fundamental notion for our distractibility. We get distracted to this thing, that thing, all the glittery things, all the noisy things. Why? Because we think that glittery things have something interesting to present. Some happiness is coming. Some noisy things means either we are trying to save ourselves or we are looking at something excitement. So this distractibility of the senses come because we have a fundamental notion that this world is our house of pleasures. So Hiranyakashipu presents later, but it is the fundamental thing. Okay. So now Hiranyakashipu was born, and Hiranyakashipu was the strongest. So he decided to take over all the worlds because there is so much pleasure everywhere to be had. There are so many islands, so many worlds, and so much beauty. This is not everything. So he went and did great penance, great tapasya. And then when he did great tapasya, Creator Brahma came in front of him. And nobody ever did such a great tapasya that he had done. He had done Ghora tapasya too. He did not eat anything. You know what Ghora tapasya is, right? Yeah. No, he didn't cut off his head, but it is really desiring for something and tormenting the body. Not necessarily cutting off the head all the time, but tormenting the body. How did he torment his body? He didn't feed it. He became like skeleton. Trees started growing through his body, and snakes started crawling all over, and big, ant hill started forming. We don't call it ant hill in India. We call it snake hill. So they started forming everywhere, and then really tormented the body. But nobody has done such a powerful ghora tapasya before, and a great amount of smoke is coming because of the heat he is generating in the world. And Lord Brahma had to come. He said, okay, nobody had done tapasya like this before, so ask me what you want.
Not even Ravana.
Ravana is much later.
But Hiranyakasipu is the first one to attempt this kind of things.
Yeah, attempt this kind of thing, and Ravana's tapasya is pale when compared to Hiranyakasipu's strength, valor, or anything. That's a good question. So Ravana did ghora tapasya too. Actually, there is a story in Uttarakanda of Ramayana. So Ravana, because he became so arrogant and he thought that there is nobody as powerful as him in the world, he wanted to show his strength, power everywhere. There are some, in India, we call them ambotu, right? It's a bull that is not tamed, and the bull has so much energy and it doesn't know what to do. It keeps on hitting everything in the way. It keeps on hitting a wall, want to collapse the wall. It charges on everybody. So he is like that. Ravana was like that. So he became so arrogant that he was going everywhere as challenging everybody for a duel. Come on, let's fight. Want to figure out who is stronger. There are some boys, sometimes you see that. Let's do this thing, right?
Arm wrestling.
Yeah. So they want to show how strong they are. Like that he was. And then while he was doing, some places he was really badly defeated and insulted terribly. But in some places he became victorious. So he went to a Patala Loka, Rasatala Loka, not Patala, just keep the word, Rasatala, and where he met Bali, the great Bali, Emperor Bali Chakravarti, right? Bali was pushed down to Rasatala. So there he had a conversation and he challenged him for a duel. I said, no, I'm not going to do any of that stuff. But anyway, I'll tell you who I am. And he says, there is a big earring there. Go and pick it up. Bring it for me. So Ravana goes there. And that earring was like a huge wheel. He tried to lift it with all his 20 arms, but he couldn't.
20 arms?
Yeah, because he has 10 heads, right? For each head 2, so 20 arms. So he tried to lift it, but he couldn't do anything. He came back exasperated. Then he said, that is the earring of my great-grandfather, Hiranyakasipu. So I am Prahlada's son, Bali. Prahlada's grandson, Bali. So he says, and that Hiranyakasipu was slayed by Lord Vishnu like that. He just ripped him apart like a rag doll. And then even me, Bali, he pushed me down to Rasatala. But the Lord is so benevolent, he blessed me, and he's standing outside at the front of the door as a doorkeeper. Then he said, oh my goodness, I wanted to find Vishnu and defeat him. Where is he? He ran out, but he couldn't find anyone there. This is a story that comes in Uttarakanda. But anyway, coming back to our Hiranyakasipu story, Hiranyakasipu did great penance. And then Lord Brahma came and asked him, okay, what do you want? Then he said, I should not be killed by anybody. I should be an immortal. Everybody asks for immortality. Yeah. He said, no, I can't give you that. Yeah, I can't give you immortality. Then he invented a great boon to circumvent this. Everybody know that. I should not be killed when it is day or when it is night. I should not be killed when it is out. When I am outside or inside. I should not be killed either by a living thing or a non-living thing. I should not be killed by an animal or a human or a divine being or anything. I should not be killed by any weapon. Oh, like that he asks so many things. So in other words, what is he asking for? Immortality. He's circumventing it. But that's not how the universe listens. Universe we told you, law of attraction. What is that? Universe always listens.
Crickets.
Yeah, when you say kill, 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 universe is telling, okay, you want to be killed. Okay, you want to be killed. He says, I don't want to be killed by this. Okay, you want to be killed by something else. I don't want to be killed outside. Okay, you want to be killed inside. I don't want to be killed inside. Okay, you want to be killed in between. So that's how the universe listens, and that's how it granted the boon. But he didn't understand. He didn't understand that.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
So he sealed his own death
Yeah.
by trying to not.
He wanted, I should be killed only under these circumstances. That's what he asked basically. And that's what Ravana asked too. Ravana said, I should be killed by a human or a vanara, a monkey. Both came to kill him. Right? So this is how we think that we are circumventing, we are outsmarting the universe, but we will never be able to. But there is a great meaning in this story. And he asked for these boons, there is some deep meaning. We'll come to that in a bit. But then after he acquired all these boons, then he became, of course, arrogant like everybody else. He is a Daitya, right? What is a Daitya? Diti's
Son.
descendant, yeah. So Daitya, being a Daitya, his mind is always divided. Me, mine, this is yours, so I need to grab it from you and make it mine, all that. So he started conquering all the worlds. He conquered all the 3 worlds and established his reign over the entire universe. Hiranyakashipu.
Yeah.
Pretty much in entire, like Indraloka, up to Indraloka, where Indra is Swarga. Yeah, the known 3 worlds. We call it 3 worlds, sometimes we call it 14 words. Okay, tell me, what is it? Is it 3 or 14? Sometimes I say 7. Is it 3, 7 or 14?
I think perhaps it is 14 worlds, but when we say 3 worlds, it doesn't necessarily mean like 3 different planets, but perhaps just 3 different groupings.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends on how you look at it. From based on your perspective, you are categorizing. But 3 is good for the time being. I'll tell about 14 later. I'll tell about 7 later. But 3 is good. 3 worlds. 3 worlds are like 3 levels of existence. 3 levels of existence. I'll come to that in a bit. Okay? So now, what are the boons received by Hiranyakashipu? What did I say Hiranyakashipu is?
Bed of
thinking the world.
things.
Yeah, this is called Bhoga Buddhi. Bhoga Buddhi means your mindset is always in getting something. Pleasure, pain, or whatever. Always getting an object or achieving a thing or getting something or something or something. You are the recipient here, you are always receiving this. And this mindset is very stubborn. It will not go away easily. If you sleep, you think, I have abandoned it. No, it will survive through the night, survive through the sleep. That means when you wake up, this notion will come back up. You are busy during the day, completely busy taking care of, doing volunteer work at a temple. You think that this buddhi has gone. No. By night, when you come home, it returns. So it cannot be slayed by any of human invention. So basically, it cannot be slayed even by any kind of animal thing. It has to be extraordinary. It has to be something extra out of the world. Otherwise, this cannot be slayed. That's what it means. So you have to come up with such a great thing which is extraterrestrial, completely beyond the world to slay this. So this Bhoga Buddhi is so stubborn and it doesn't dislodge from us. So what did this Hiranyakashipu do? He married a lady named Kayadhu. She is a Danavi. She belongs to clan of Danavas. Anybody knows who Danavas are?
Sons of Danu.
Sons of Danu.
They were 12 or were they?
40. 41 exactly. So they Danavi. So she belongs to the clan of Danavas. And what does Kayadhu mean? Kayadhu is an interesting name. In some Puranas, in some movie, they said she's Lilavati. Lilavati is also okay. is also okay name. We'll talk about the meaning of Leelavati later, but what Kayadhu means? Kayadhu means, Kaya means by whom, particularly asking by which lady, which feminine gender Kaya, Dhuk, milked. Means where do you milk the pleasures, pain, and all these objects that you are thinking that will give you pleasure? By who do you get all these? By who do you milk all these? So dhuk means not milking a cow. Dhuk means you extract. By who you extract all these things. And that brings us to the name Leelavati. Leelavati means Maya. The power that is really not there, but it is there, with which you can really get everything that you need. So this is some manifestation power that we have within us. If you have a strong desire, you will be able to manifest it. Because of that desire itself, this is called Sankalpa, by the desire itself, you have a power to, the ability to manifest it. Okay? With Kayadhu, so you have this mindset that this world is your pleasure house. Everything is there for you to have pleasure, enjoyment, or whatever. And you have this Sankalpa, desires to make all that happen, manifest all those pleasures. And they have 4 sons and 1 daughter. The 4 sons in the order are Halada, Anuhalada, Samhalada, Prahlada. And Simhika is the daughter. Yeah. So Simhika is the mother of Rahu, the planet Rahu, is the sister of Prahlada.
Wait,
right?
So Simhika is the one that Hanuman slew? No,
No, there is a Simhika too, but not this one.
Like the one in Ramayana who asked Hanuman to enter her mouth and leave. Was it her?
No, that is Surasa. She didn't, nobody asked her enter my mouth and leave. Everybody asked enter my mouth. They didn't ask them to leave. Hanuman left. That is his choice. But anyway.
Ears.
Yeah. So what is that?
Through the ears.
Through the ears, he came out for Simhika?
No, I think it's Sursa.
No, Surasa also, he didn't come through ears.
But what was the monster that he killed? Just
Simhika.
oh, so okay, but the Simhika and that Simhika are different.
Are different.
Okay, thank you for the
Okay.
clarification.
Yeah.
Simhika garbhasambhutam tam
Rahu.
rahum pranamamiham.
Yeah. So in Navagraha Stotra, Rahu's mother's name is given. Okay, anyway. So 4 sons and 1 daughter. And we know that Prahlada is one of the greatest bhaktas and all that. But what is the significance of these 4 sons and 1 daughter? So let's shift the focus a little bit. I like gulab jamun. Okay? So the moment I think of gulab jamun, what happens? You want it, but the moment you think, what happens? The moment the thought enters your mind,
The
there is
taste.
some happiness,
Feeling of taste.
some pleasure fills your thought, right? Some pleasure. Because you have a pleasurable sense of it, that fills you. And then that creates the desire. I want it. So now, gulab jamun came into your head and you have this desire to have it. And then you drive to an Indian store. And then when you go to the Indian store, there are gulab jamuns displayed in the glass doors, in the little glass case. You looked at it, what happens? Your joy, let's step higher. And then you finally pay the money, stand in the line, pay the money, take it, and you have it. You're about to put into your mouth. Then your pleasure is even higher, right? So, yeah. And when you eat it, the pleasure reaches it's whatever the pinnacle is, whatever that is. So, but these stages of first thinking of the object that you want gives you joy. That is halada. Halada means some kind of a joy, happiness. So, halada means something, the moment you think of your desired object, some of your favorite object, it immediately gives a joy in you. That is halada. And when you actually see it, or when you hold it in your hand, then it raises the joy to a level, because you are looking at it, or it is in your reach. That is anuhlada. Anu means to follow. A joy that you are getting by following, which is anuhlada. But there is a desire, right, that popped up. That desire is the tormentor, Simhika. Simhika means himsati, iti Simhika. Simha, the lion, the Sanskrit word is Simha. Why is it called Simha? It's called, it violates, it torments. That's why it is called Simha. Himsati iti Simha. So Simhika means the tormentor. That is the desire. That is the daughter. It is the tormentor child. And then once you have the desire, then you actually had it in your reach pretty much. Then Anuhlada. When you have it, you have Samhlada. You're completely joyful. But beyond this, is there any kind of happiness? Out of this,
Prahlada.
what is that?
I think it's like when you're completely satisfied.
Yeah, when you don't need anything.
Happiness, constant happiness.
Yeah, when
How do
you
you know?
don't need anything.
He
She is
didn't tell-
logically deducing it.
He didn't tell you. How do you know the answer? When
Because-
completely satisfied.
because
Or in other
because of-
words, you're.
Give her a big hand, man.
Or in other words, you're just trying to say like a constant state of happiness,
Yeah.
not like wanting anything or. Okay.
So, when you add pra in front of the halada, it's called a prefix, right? When you add pra, it means firmly or directly in front. So, there is a joy within us, firmly there all the time. It never leaves us because it's our true nature. And it is always available to us directly at all times, inside or outside, doesn't matter. And that is what the whole world is filled with, pervaded with. Therefore, because of its pervasive nature, it is called Vishnu. Because it enters and pervades everything. That's why it is called Vishnu. Therefore, Prahlada was depicted as Vishnu Bhakta. He's always doing Vishnu, bhajan, right? So, but Prahlada is belong to the clan of
Daityas.
Daityas. Daityas means divided.
Divided.
Everything is divided. Then it has to be divided. Me and my gulab jamun. Me and my car. Me and my house. That's how it should be divided. But who is this fellow, born in Daitya clan, saying that I am happy just by being? Because the joy is right here, right now, in front of me, and is there everywhere also.
He says, I am the gulab jamun.
How does that happen? How does Prahlada coming into Daityas ever even possible, ever even happen? That is a big $1,000 question.
Maybe dividing. There is a division, except it's for the betterment. Perhaps like dividing that he can make a distinction between his father and Vishnu. So he can perhaps make a distinction between the dividers and the non-dividers, or a divide between the dividers and the non-dividers.
Interesting thought, but no, that's not the answer. The answer is something called Navavidha Bhakti. Navavidha Bhakti. Shloka goes to give all the 9 kinds of bhakti: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoha, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam cha Atma Nivedanam. We'll talk about that later, but today we'll stop at this thought. So the whole idea is, what is Hiranyakashipu? Hiranyakashipu is the notion that this world is our pleasure house. It is the bed of pleasures on all things. And then it has a great power to manifest all it desires, all it wants, and all those things. And that power is nothing other than Maya. It is called Kayadhu, by which you milk everything, by which you try to manifest everything. And when you have that power, you have ability to manifest all kinds of pleasures. There is one kind of pleasures, that means you are different, your pleasure is different, you get it to have happiness, right? And when you are different and your pleasure object is different, then the moment you think about it, it gives you joy. And you make a tormenting desire about it. Therefore, that tormenting desire will propel you, constantly push you towards that object. You become restless if you don't go there. And once you go there, when you see it, when it is in your reach, you have joy, anuhlada. And when you actually take it, you have samhlada. That is all one mode. The other mode is you are happy by yourself. Prahlada. So that's why Hiranyakashipu hated Prahlada, loved all the rest of the four. He even tried to kill Prahlada. Because people who are in this type of mindset, that means I am different from all my pleasure objects and the pleasure is in them, not in me. And the world has all these pleasure objects and this is my house where I will get all my pleasure. They're constantly driven. They're constantly running towards things. They can never sit. If they find anybody sitting calmly and meditating, they will go and harm them. They will even try to disturb them. You will see that kind of ideology everywhere in the world. If somebody is sitting like a monk in a cave, completely absorbed, and some liberal or some kind of a communist thinking fellow comes and says, this is useless fellow, this fellow is a parasite, he's just sitting there and doing nothing and he should be taken into a factory and should be made into a worker because we need to increase productivity. All this mindset is coming out of this divided mindset. But within a divided mindset, it is even possible to break that division, entire divisibility, obliterate that, it is possible. And that part we will discuss in the next one. Okay? We'll stop it here. Yeah. Please say it after me. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah.
Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah.
Sarve Santu Niramayah.
Sarve Santu Niramayah.
Sarve Bhadrani Pasyantu.
Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu.
Ma Kaschit
Ma Kaschit
Dukkha Bhag Bhavet.
Dukkha Bhag Bhavet.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om